Hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the first panel discussion. We would like to start our 3 days of the GRC Summit with the CEO view on how to drive a sustainable governance during the pandemic crisis. Now, we have an exceptional panelist attendee this morning, and I'd like to introduce each one of the panelists today. So first of all, welcome Paola Corna Pellegrini, CEO of Allianz Partners and President of the Italian Association of CEOs. After a long career in multinational and family companies, in 2011, Paola was appointed CEO in Allianz Partners. Since 2018, she has been president also of the scientific committee of the Winning Human Institute and Vice President of the Meritocracy Forum. I would like also to add that since 2019, she is part of the 77 CEOs who signed the CEO Call to Action, the appeal from the leaders of the companies most committed to sustainability. Welcome, Paola. Second panelist is Isabella Fumagalli, CEO of BNP Paribas Cardif. After 6 years of experience in JP Morgan, Isabella joined BNP Paribas Cardif and became CEO in 2002. Let me say, Isabella, I think the youngest CEO in the group. In 2018, Isabella was also appointed coordinator of BNP Paribas International Financial Services for Italy. And Isabella was also the first CEO in Italy to launch an acceleration program dedicated to startups with family prevalence. Welcome, Isabella.
Thank you.
Our third panelist is Marcello Cattani, President and Managing Director of Sanofi Italy. With more than 20 years experience in the pharma industry, covering multiple roles and driving now the Italian subsidiary of Sanofi, he has the experience on driving not only from a sales perspective, but also a production sides, also for vaccines, nowadays so relevant for all of us. Is member of Confindustria, group of corporate social responsibility and environmental sustainability. Welcome, Marcello, to the panel. And last but not least, our CEO at MetricStream, Bruce Dahlgren. Bruce is a global technology executive with more than 30 years experience in large public companies like HP and small private companies that he is successfully leading to M&A and IPOs. Well, since he joined MetricStream, he created a disruptive transformation program, but I will let him to cover better the point. Now, the topic of the panel during the current pandemic crisis has caused a paradigm shift from focusing on maximizing shareholder value to sustainability and corporate responsibility. And during this panel, we would like really to share with how your organizations are addressing the topic in the risk compliance programs in the governance of the companies. Paola, as president of the Italian Association of CEOs, you have a privileged view or observation point on the impact of this crisis on many organizations. Can you provide some insights on what you're seeing in the market, but also your personal experience in driving your company?
Thank you, Marco. Thank you to MetricStream for the invitation. And I have to say that this is my first participation in a roundtable with my new role as president of the CEOs Association. And it's a privilege because of the perfect fit of the theme of this event with our purpose, let's say. If I can try to summarize the purpose of our association and the program that we have all agreed upon in our executive committee of the association is sustainability and the concept of giving back. So I perfectly feel that I am in the right place to speak about our association purpose and program. I introduce very quickly the association because maybe it's of interest of also of this audience, and also it's very consistent with the sustainability concept. In fact, our pillars are perfectly in line with the SDGs of the 2030 Universal Agenda. We start, the first one is about occupation and education. The second is innovation and digitalization, inclusion and meritocracy, the third one. We, of course, are keen in developing proposals for the environmental sustainability. The healthcare is, of course, at the top of the agenda of all the countries, thanks, unfortunately, to the pandemic. And lastly, even though not perfectly fitting immediately in the SDGs description, anyway, is tourism, which is the first industry for Italy, representing, or which used to represent, unfortunately now is really affected by pandemia. It used to represent 13% of our GDP and 3.5 million employees overall. So we need to solve that to find solutions to prepare this sector, this industry for the restart, because our country is economically and socially also very dependent on this sector. I take also the opportunity to highlight that on this stage we have three CEOs of companies which are already certified in one of the key topics of sustainability, which is gender equality and inclusion. We got, with our companies, the certification by Winning Women Institute, which is a private independent body which has put in place, designed the first certification for gender equality in Italy, and I would say also in Europe, which will be the base, I hope, to create a standard for Italy and also beyond Italy. So coming now to how we, from our perspective, have lived the pandemic, and which unfortunately are still our priorities to manage this difficult time. For sure, we, all of us, we agreed that people first, people focus was the key priority. Of course, when we speak about people, we speak about, first of all, our employees, but also our clients, and finally, also the society. Talking about employees, we wanted to put in a safe condition our employees, protecting them from the pandemic, of course, but also from getting contagion also outside our company. So this was the first aim. When back to end of February, we had to figure out how to face this new emergency, which was new for everybody in Italy, everybody around the world. So, for example, in Allianz Partners, what we decided, and I know that I forced a bit my people to take quite a brave decision, which was, we want to have everybody able to work from home remotely in 2 weeks' time. And this starting from only 50 people having teleworking and having, so we were able to have nearly 750 people working from home in 2 weeks' time. It was a big challenge, I have to say, and I'm very proud of my people that made it happen. But we took the right decision to not wait for the lockdown being announced for all Italy, as it happened exactly 15 days after the first lockdowns in one area, but immediately thinking with a longer view, which then showed up to be the right decision to be taken. Then, of course, when you have people working remotely, you need to keep them engaged. So we all put in place several initiatives in terms of communication, digital coffee corners, psychological support, IT support, of course, because we became very dependent on technologies, on tools, on our systems. And thirdly, of course, we needed to think about having them skilled to take this new role, which is to work from home or in any case remotely. So we decided to launch, for example, in Allianz Partners, a digital training process, which is called Digital for Future, that in reality, and fortunately, I designed and I asked my people to implement before the COVID emergency, and then we decided to roll out it even, if all remotely. In fact, it is very much appreciated, but now we need also to train the managers about the new leadership skills, because it's totally different to keep people engaged, to also give them targets and to measure their performance, being not in the same site, being far from them physically. So those are the key priorities for people and employees. Then clients, and of course, we need it all to ensure business continuity for our clients. In our case, this means to answer to their calls when they are stuck in the road with their car broken or with an accident, or where they are having issues at home or medical issues. So this was a big challenge, and of course, having people working from remotely smoothly was key to ensure the same service level and the satisfaction of our clients. And this was the case for most of our companies, of course. And finally, I talked already about giving back. I believe that we as CEOs, and this is also the purpose of the people who joined me in this new adventure with the association ICEO of the CEOs, is to give back. We, of course, every day give back, ensuring a job to our employees, but we want to give back also to the society. So as an association, we decided to allocate or to offer part of the quote paid by the associates to fund a new hospital building in Milan, which was dedicated to COVID-19 treatment. And this, in fact, is now a hospital which is helping to manage this new ramp up or new takeoff of the contagious in our city. So we all put in place also measures to support the healthcare system, the doctors. So, for example, we decided in Allianz Partners to give for free roadside assistance to all the healthcare providers and operators, which were on the front line, very generous in giving their service to our country and to our people, citizens, even going beyond their duties and going and helping in a very difficult moment where maybe we were not ready to face so many illnesses and issues, above all in the intensive care, of course. So I believe that this is what was the priority for all of us, and we have to continue because this wave 2 of the pandemic is putting even further all our structure or our infrastructure and the whole country now, not only few areas, under a big pressure. So we have to be united. We have to continue our effort in our companies, supporting our people, keeping them motivating, keeping up the morale, which is now the big challenge we have, but also to support the country, because the country needs now to find the right project, the right measure, not only to face the emergency, but also to prepare the restart of this country, which is one of the most affected in the world, unfortunately.
Thank you, Paola. Great messages, and very aligned with our objectives. Isabella, let's come leading an organization during the crisis and with the remote working is a challenging effort. And financial services are critical for the sustainability of the economy. What are the concrete measures you are taking to ensure a safe environment, but also the continuity of business, protection from risk like fraud, cybersecurity, health, and safety? Isabella.
Thank you very much, Marco. I think that Paola already explained very well as a CEO herself what we have been doing during this crisis. I think also that we experimented one of the biggest business continuity stress tests that we never had, and it really gave us the opportunity to understand how the company reacts in difficult situations. Most of the things that we had to face were totally new to us and totally new to our management. We have a headquarters which is in France, and unfortunately the crisis and the pandemic was much stronger in Italy and came before than in France. So we found ourselves in a very difficult situation where we didn't have any instruction from head office, and clearly procedures didn't include the situation which we were facing at that time. So I think that at the beginning I must say that we talk very much about competence in general. What this situation has shown is that experience is very much important, and in this situation I may say that experience of the top management was crucial in order to take the good decisions. Most of the things that we have done, having people, we managed to have all the employees working from home from the very beginning, because we were lucky enough to be testing the flexible work in 2019 for 6 days a month, and from one day to another we sent everybody in flexible without having finished our tests. So that was the live test of this and it worked. So I think the second very big lesson that we have learned is trust. We understand that at the end people really had to trust each other, because otherwise it wouldn't work. They jumped into a new management situation where we had to set up 36 crisis management teams sessions in 100 days. And that was more or less a third of the company around facing the situation every 2-3 days. So at the end, I think that we set up a very different way of trusting each other, more or less because we didn't have any choice. That was the only possibility to survive, but also because we had been building in years and years around this concept of trust, and we realized only in February how powerful this can be. At the end of the day, we couldn't monitor what people were really doing, and because the purpose and the mission that we gave to ourselves was absolutely crucial, everybody was giving 150% of their energy. This was also very true towards customers. When we talk about business, as we are the insurance company of the BNP Paribas group, we realized that we were people serving other people. So first of all, we were not talking about business. We were talking about a human necessity. We were talking about staying alive. So that was really, really strong, and that allowed us to concretely federate our efforts around the customer needs. In the past, from time to time, we were used to say that we are B2B2C, we have distributors dealing with the end customers, we only have to provide service and products to the distributors. That was not true, because most of our distributors were not able to sell by digital remotely for 2 months. So what we had to do was to replace them in that. We set up a team of 80 sales people together with our remote call center that helped our distributors to keep contacting their customers and especially selling the products that were become crucial for them, like health insurance, for example. So this was very important, and that was done in very few days. So things that before would have taken weeks and months, I don't know, years, or maybe not even possible, because that was not mentioned to be our role, became natural because we were just serving persons. So I think that was very, very strong. We clearly helped the economy. This is your question. Our partners who maybe distribute financing or mortgages accepted to skip some payments, and we had to cover the customers with insurance without being covered by the premiums and by the different annual premium. So we accompanied them. We applied a lot of derogation to people when they needed their money back. We used to have a lot of checklists for risk reasons, as you can imagine, that we decided to abandon. We clearly accepted based on auto certification rather than on very complex procedures. So we entered into a much more agile way of serving people, and luckily enough, some of these simplifications still remain into the new way of working, and hopefully these are part of the progress that we have been able to do thanks to this pandemic. Maybe when we talk about risks, or when we talk about, let's say, engagement, as was said by Paola, we needed to remain committed to what we had decided to do. Engagement and sustainability is a long-term commitment, and we could not afford to stop it just because there was an emergency, and especially because the emergency had to do with people's lives. And so we continued to give our support. We gave money to the Red Cross to help people. We helped ourselves as we could with our charity activity, personal charity activities, and we also, as was mentioned by Paola, continued with the diversity and inclusion program, also to make people feel that what is really important for them was preserved. And that was very, very difficult, because we were very busy in many things, but there were a few things that we didn't want to give up, because there were very strong messages towards people caring. We were also very happy to be able to help all from a sanitary point of view, all the BNP Paribas employees, because we set up a chatbot and a center to support from a medical point of view all the 18,000 employees of BNP Paribas in Italy. We felt the responsibility to give a support to all of them. And that was very nice, because at the end we now feel more as a family, which was not the case before. We know what does really mean to have a central view of the customer, to serve all together. And also we did a franchise and with the ecosystem of all the companies we work with, especially our suppliers, who are taking a new role in the way we serve our customers. Before they were just, give me the product, give me the service. Afterwards, it was, how can you help me? Finding a solution to solve this problem. So I think that's what, if I may finish on this part, what was very, very important for us, apart from all the risks that of course are emerging, is that people realized that risks are unpredictable. They realized that it is important to protect themselves, and this is very good for us as insurers, but it's very good for the country itself, as Paola was mentioning. People need to protect themselves, and this situation, which is an unfortunate situation, is creating a culture around the necessity to produce a change management in the way we face risks, especially in Italy, which is very, very peculiar. And as Papa Francesco was saying, we don't have to prepare anymore for the future. We have to prepare the future together. And this also requires, from a CEO perspective, the capability to do reverse engineering towards what may expect us in the future. Future is unpredictable, but we are expected to understand what may happen and organize ourselves for to help to organize the whole company around what is maybe necessary.
Great messages. Thank you, Isabella. Really good. Marcello, completely different sector, the pharma sector, but the organization are in the midst of uncertainty about the future. And there is increasing demand for multiple stakeholders, lack of resources, disrupted supply chain. So how are these changes impacting the board decision making? Can you bring us some examples and how you are dealing in your company?
So thank you very much, Marco, for your question. So this was happening dramatically, of course, and I would say board members are, since the beginning of the pandemic, operating in a more conscious, value-based decision-making process and environment too. And so that any decision made today has a greater impact on the internal and external stakeholders that we are serving, not only today, but for the tomorrow. Of course, we are, operating in a healthcare system, and our mission is to research and develop and to bring in the faster way possible relevant and changing life drugs to the patients. And thereof the question, have you changed your decision-making process since the pandemic? Yes, definitely yes. I would like to share some examples because Isabella and Paola touched key points: trust, delegation of authority, responsibility, caring. And based on that values, I would say we have put in place immediately great programs in a very short term and caring mostly for our people internally and our stakeholders externally, which means patients and healthcare providers. But not only to this. We put in place a program, Noi Ci Siamo, which means a direct support to the healthcare system and the social security institutions to bring them overall 2 million euros in money and partially in disinfectant, because we have converted one line in one of our 4 plants in Italy to produce disinfectant. and through the civil protection, we have gave immediately, a tangible and concrete support for managing the crisis. But looking to our people, since the beginning, we were already used to remote working since several years before, and we, immediately applied the remote working for all the people possibly till 5 days a week. And related to our patients, we put in place key programs. One is Sanofi for You, so bringing at home medicines and drugs, so keeping patient in a safety condition, and working as well on the tutor program, which means a very comprehensive program to manage and to administer for rare disease patients their infusion staying in a safe condition at home. And this was immediately, revamped program, and now is keeping in a safe condition, receiving in a timely manner their medication, 100 rare disease patients across Italy. And of course, we tried to as well working on because the crisis is emphasizing IT vulnerability, and we put in place a crisis programs as well to reinforce and to rebuild the safety programs around our IT infrastructure globally. That means not only to support and then enlarge the tools and the bandwidth for our people, because the remote working, but giving more power to firewalls and anti-intrusion systems. And so for us, this has been a big change, but with a very unprecedented level of collaboration between people, teams, and in order to fight the pandemic and keeping the business continuity, because having 4 plants in Italy, that's really crucial to maintain our mission. So producing critical drugs and to supply drugs to our patients. And during the worst days, we were operating roughly a 100% level across all the plants. And so that means a great dedication and safety first to protect and to prevent the spreading of the contagion across the plants.
Thank you, Marcello. What have you in interesting, challenging times. Bruce, last but not least, keeping all employees engaged, we already talked, is one of the key priorities for the CEO. And when you came to MetricStream, you announced a strategic disruptive program. So do you want to explain what are you doing in our company now?
Sure. Let me start by thanking our 3 panelists. We just really appreciate your time today and all your wisdom. It's wonderful. The way I would describe the situation for us is really 2 waves, a lot like the pandemic. And in a sense, the first wave for us was weathering the storm. And this is similar to so many other companies, keeping our employees safe, productive, finding new communication tools like roundtables and team meetings and networking, ways to try to keep people safe, healthy, and productive, weather the storm. The second wave for us was really about this disruption. How do we accelerate as a company? How do we take advantage of the situation now that we have people safe working from home. What do we need to do as a company to position ourselves to come out of this pandemic stronger? How can we help our customers more? And the way I'd like to describe this is we've really reimagined our entire business. We have a rich heritage, a wonderful legacy as the visionary and the leader in GRC. But how do we reimagine this in a way to change the way we interact with the market, with our customers, and both externally and internally? So let me give you a sense. Fundamentally, we've aligned this with 3 pillars. And these 3 pillars are changing the way that we handle our business externally and the way we're even organized internally. And over the last few months, I'm very proud of MetricStream and how we've rallied to this acceleration and get things lined up. The first pillar is really focused on our market presence. How do we want to change the way we're perceived, a freshness around GRC? How do we help our customers in the way that we are able to have a presence in the market? Externally, it's changed things like our website, our messaging. Internally, it's changed the way we've structured our sales and marketing team. The second pillar is really around innovation. And obviously, we're an innovating a product company. So we want to make sure that we're continuing to meet the needs, the new risk elements in the marketplace. What do we do from an innovation standpoint to bring new capabilities into the market? But internally, how do we restructure to do this faster? What kind of things can we do around our platform and our products? What are the ways that we can help bring this innovation faster to the market? And then the third pillar is really all about our customer engagement. And from an external standpoint, what do we do to improve the user experience of our products? How do we increase the adoption rate and help our customers realize the benefits of the products and our capabilities and our services? Internally, it gives us a great opportunity to rethink how we build customer-focused teams. How do we position ourselves to be able to meet the needs of our customers when we can't necessarily be face-to-face? What things and tools and capabilities do we want to put in place that help make this a reality in this virtual world? And I'm really pleased with how these 3 pillars and this accelerate effort to this reimagination has come together. Marco, let me summarize by saying this. We've been very fortunate, all of us, with this digital transformation over the last few decades. You know, realistically, if it wasn't for mobility, for networking capabilities, internet, on and on, we wouldn't have been able as a global economy to weather the storm. However, with all of that digital transformation, it's increased the risks. Whether those are known risks from work from home with cyber risks, frontline involvement, issues around new supply chains, all of the things that our panelists are talking about have created more risk. So the digital aspects are real positive, but there's also potential for those to be negative. And then you have the unknown, those data sources like artificial intelligence, things like machine learning. And what we believe is with this reimagination and putting these 3 pillars in place and leveraging our heritage, but coming with a new, fresh attitude and acceleration, that we'll be able to help our customers better in weathering the storm and their acceleration. So again, thanks to the panelists, and I'll hand it back to you, Marco.
Hello, can you hear me now? And,
yes, we have you.
It has been excellent contribution from all of you, different perspectives, but I'm gathering some words, the engagement that mentioned Paola of the people assigning them responsibility. Isabella, the trust concept that I really like in the company, and Marcello, the changes, the crisis program, the vulnerability on which we are all exposed, and the major transformation, Bruce, you are mentioning also from our perspective, supporting our customers. Thank you for the great concepts. I think it's a great starting of the GRC Summit with your excellent views. And again, thank you for the participation to the summit and for this panel discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
Bye.
you, MetricStream. Thank you, Marco.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.